ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। हरि ओम, salutations to all. So 14th chapter we saw how Bhagavan tells Arjun that once again param bhuya pravakshyami jnananam jnanam uttamam. He is going to give the knowledge of that which is the supreme. And why it is supreme? Because it is connected with the supreme. And having known that, the minds which are quiet, which are contemplative, will attain that state of realization. So, having said that, he goes ahead in the second verse to say that when one abides in this knowledge, idam jnanam upashritya mama sadharmyam agataha, the jiva will attain oneness with Bhagavan. Then what happens? Sargepi no upajayante pralayena vyathanti cha. One will not be born once again at the time of new creation, nor at the time of death or dissolution will there be any agitation or sorrow. Pralayena vyathanti cha, meaning they attain the state of immortality. Now he goes ahead to give that knowledge. What was said earlier, Prakriti and Purusha, to show that Prakriti is not independent, it is functioning under the grace of Purusha. Bhagavan says, Mama yonir mahad brahma tasmin garbham dadhamyaham sambhava sarva bhutanam tato bhavati bharata. That Purusha is the infinite consciousness, Prakriti is the Mahat Tattva here, Mahat Brahma it is called. It is the womb in which the seed is Tasmin Garbham Dadhamyaham, meaning the consciousness enlivens, Purusha enlivens this Prakriti, and then all the beings are born from there. Now what happens? Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavanti yaha tasam brahma mahadyonihi aham bija pradapita. So Mahat is the cause, the ultimate cause. Brahman, using its power of Maya, has become this Prakriti, Maya, same in this context, has become that Mahat, which is the source, the main cause, from where all the other yonis are born. Devata, Manushya, Pashu, Pakshi, everything. Sarva yonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavanti yaha. The source is this. But it is not the only source, in the sense it is by itself not independent. Tasmin garbham dadhamyaham, it was said in the earlier shloka, and aham bija pradapita, the seed, what is manifesting through the womb. See, that is one important point to understand, right? The seed only manifests as the tree, the whatever you know, the branch and then the flower, the fruit, everything. So in that same way, infinite consciousness through the prism of Prakriti is appearing as a plurality. What we do is we say there is only plurality, the world, and there is the cause, which is Prakriti. Purusha, consciousness gone out of the picture. But who is appearing here as all this is that consciousness alone. Give me 1 minute. So, tasam brahma mahadyonihi aham bija prada pita. So, the seed is consciousness, meaning consciousness only appearing through the womb of Mahat or Prakriti is manifesting, is appearing as this whole Srishti. So, having said that, now what is this Srishti? What is this Prakriti? Prakriti is 3 gunas. How is it that one consciousness through this Prakriti is producing this much variety? So this whole world, we see so much of diversity in this whole Srishti. From where is that coming? If the source is one non-dual infinite consciousness, what is there in this Prakriti which makes this diversity possible? So the 5th verse is what we had seen last. Sattvam rajas tama iti guna prakriti sambhavaha. Nibadhnanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. Now these gunas, when it is said sattva, rajas and tamas, 3 gunas, they are prakriti sambhavaha. So one literal meaning of this is they are born from prakriti. But we should remember, prakriti is equal to 3 gunas. Heat and light is the nature of fire. We can't say heat and light is born from fire. Then what is fire apart from heat and light? So though the word used is sambhavaha, we should know it as the nature. The nature of Prakriti is sattva, rajas, tamas. And identified with that, this infinite consciousness, the Purusha, gets bound. Nibadhnanti mahabaho, O mahabaho, O Arjuna. Arjuna is called as mahabaho by Bhagwan because apparently Arjuna also had arms which are very long and they reach up to his knees. He is also called Ajanubahu, long arms. Like Bhagwan Ram has long arms. Like that Arjuna also has. So, Nibadhnanti Mahabaho, Dehe, to this body or whichever body, not only human body, any yoni. Because all the yonis, Bhagwan is talking about all of them. But in human body, we will come to recognize this. Other yonis, they are not able to recognize the distinction between Prakriti and Purusha. Human body, we can recognize. That will come further. So the point is, infinite consciousness functioning through the prism of Prakriti appears as this world of plurality. Why? Because that Prakriti's nature is 3 gunas. And the whole plurality we see, the diversity we see, is because of the combination of 3 gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. But in this process, the Purusha, who is beyond the gunas, who is immortal, who is unborn, who is unchanging, who is imperishable, got identified with Prakriti. Now the Prakriti's three gunas are binding him. Binding him means what? Again, I'm using him because limitation of language. Don't think Purusha is a man and Prakriti is a woman. Both have no gender. We saw that in 13th chapter. Purusha is infinite consciousness beyond gender. Is called Purusha because Purnatvat Purusha is full, perfect, complete, beyond space-time object, and is experienced here in our heart. Purau Shete, this body is called city, a Puri. In that, this is the indwelling awareness, consciousness, and livener. So it is Purusha. It doesn't have any gender. Prakriti also has three gunas. They don't have any gender. Expressions of three gunas also don't have gender. It's so strange, na? As a jiva, even this sattva, rajas, tamas, when we see, the jiva doesn't have any gender. The qualities also don't have any gender. Knowledge, peace, happiness, activity, attachment, greed, ignorance, indulgence, all these are sattva, rajas, tamas qualities. They also don't have a gender. Where is gender? Prana doesn't have gender, mind doesn't have gender. Think about it. Gender is only at the gross level, body level, that's all. And what a halla for that gender. That is the identification. So Purusha has forgotten that I am genderless. Identified with the Prakriti, I have become Jiva. That Jiva also doesn't have gender. That Jiva finally identifies with one body and then assumes the gender and now gone. Full attachment. This is born, so I am born. This is pleasure, having some pleasure, so I am happy. I am feeling the pleasure. This has pain, I am happy in pain. That is identification. So this infinite consciousness having forgotten itself, identifying with the Prakriti, becoming an individual Jiva, then further identifying with this body, now is bound. That combination of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas which is there in each individual being or even thing, that is what is creating the variety, and Purusha identifying with that is playing in this Srishti. So we find here Nibadhnanti Mahabaho Dehe Dehinam, to this body, Dehe, Dehinam Nibadhnanti, that in the indwelling spirit, consciousness is bound to this. Bound means what? See, spirit is infinite, it can never be bound. Three gunas can never bind the spirit, Prakriti can never bind the spirit, Purusha will never be bound actually. But because of identification appears bound. One example given by Ram Sukhdasji Maharaj is how one identifies with one's spouse or a beloved, or it can be any person actually. He gives the example of the spouse. He says the identification is so much that the happiness of the spouse is my happiness, sorrow of the spouse is my sorrow. They are two different people. But what do they say? Two bodies, one soul, we are one, united for life and all that. All that is very good before marriage and little bit in the first few days and months of marriage. After that, 36 ka ankada sabka. Why? The identification stopped. Till that identification was there, oh, two bodies, one soul and all that. Then identification gone. So he gives that example. He says how the identification is there. So one takes upon the role of, means one assumes whatever the other person is going through, I am going through. Same way, whatever Prakriti is going through, this Purusha is thinking I am going through that because of identification. So Sattvam Rajas Tama iti guna Prakriti Sambhavaha Nibadhnanti Mahabaho Dehe Dehinam Avyayam. In true nature, the Dehi is Avyaya, is unchanging, unborn, imperishable, can never be bound. But identified with it appears bound. Like how that light passing through that prism appears to have split into 7 colors. Actually, it is not split. It's just appearing as 7 colors because of that medium. You remove that medium, light is light, white light only. It will pass through straight, white. Put one medium in between that prism, suddenly it becomes 7 colors. So, having said this, how this Prakriti now binds? 3 gunas, how they bind? Nibadhranti Mahabahu, that was what was said. So, one aspect we have to understand is when we say that the 3 gunas they bind with the sense of I and mine. That is what the 3 gunas are actually. We will see that as we go along. But essence will be I and mine. That is the crux of the bondage. This BMI is I, and these things, these people, they are mine. That is bondage. Tulsidas ji defines that nicely in Ramcharitmanas, when Bhagwan Ram and Lakshman ji, they are in the forest. Lakshman ji is asking some questions there. That is Ram Gita. And so he asks, what is Bandhan? What is Maya? What is Jnana? What is Vairagya? He asks all those questions. In that, when he defines Maya, Bhagwan defines Maya, he says, Mai aur mor tor tei Maya. I and mine, you and yours. This division, psychological division, is called Maya. Mai or more, I and mine, you and yours. Same thing we see in the Gita in the beginning. Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva. Then my children, Pandu's children. So bondage manifests through this, and how the infinite consciousness, forgetting itself, becomes finite and then gets attached and then creates this I and mine. That is how bondage happens. So how now 3 gunas are binding in their own way? So the word guna is not just quality, as we saw earlier also in the first satsang. Guna also means a rope in Sanskrit, a rope. So the rope with which we are bound. How one is bound? It is just now Janmashtami went. Bhagwan is infinite. In his mouth, he showed the whole Vishwa to Mother Yashoda. The entire world, Vishwarup, the whole creation he showed in his small mouth. That infinite consciousness who is Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam, that supreme Brahman. Ma Yashoda tied him to that mortar. Ulukha Bandhan Leela Bhagwan. Bhagwan did that Leela because he dragged that mortar and then he took it up to the Arjuna tree and he got stuck in between and he pulled and that tree got destroyed and that Nalakuber were released from the curse. For that he did this Leela. So he got a name Damodar because of that. Dama means the rope. Udara is the stomach. So Mother Yashoda tied that rope around his stomach as a punishment to him for stealing butter and all that. She made him sit in one place. Imagine how that infinite Paramatma, how can he be tied by this rope? But Leela. Same way, this infinite one consciousness, how is it possible to tie? It is avyaya, dehe dehinam avyayam, but appears to be bound just by identification. So now these 3 gunas, as we were saying, the guna word means rope. So please remember this fact, that infinite truth, the consciousness can never be actually bound. But when we are in this state of identification and we want to know Because for us, body is real, Jiva Bhav is real, creation is real. Then we have a question, from where did this come, from where this creation came? Then the scripture says it came from that. So that infinite consciousness identifying with Maya has appeared as this plurality, and it has got bound because of this Prakriti, because of the Maya, because of the three gunas. Now, how is it bound? All that will explain now. But please remember, it is not real bondage, it is notional bondage. It is only in the identification, and which is why the moment one stops identifying, one realizes there is no bondage. Is the waker really has become the dreamer? No, he is only appearing as the dreamer. The moment the waker says, "Bas, khatam, dream, I am out of it," is over, dream ends. Of course, that dream analogy has a limitation that one is not able to wake up at one's own will. That is nature's, cycle which has been created, waking, dream, deep sleep, and all that. But the point to understand is it is an identification. If the gunas really can bind Purusha, then Purusha will never be free. If bondage is real, liberation will not happen, because real is that which remains in 3 periods of time. Then bondage will be there at all times, then no liberation. Which means only the nature of bondage I need to understand to do the right sadhana to get out of it. If false identification is the cause, then right identification is the solution. No amount of karma will change my false identification. Only the contemplation and dhyan, nididhyasan will change my false identification. So and to do that contemplation, I have to have a certain state of mind, which is sattvic state of mind. So then I have to understand three gunas, how it is affecting. Because rajas and tamas, when I am in rajas and tamas, I can't do contemplation. So even if information I have bondage is notional, I can do nothing. I will still be fully attached and going through all sorrows of the BMI as my sorrows. But if one comes to Sattva Guna, then one will be able to detach and watch. This is only happening to BMI, it is not happening to me. One is able to stand apart. Which is why it is important to understand the play of three gunas and then to stand apart from it. So now, having said this, Bhagavan now explains how each guna binds the jiva. Means binds the Purusha to Prakriti. Now through this there are 2 points to understand. The description is actually for understanding bondage, but through this we will also understand the nature of the guna, so that we can see which gunas we need to encourage and cultivate and which guna we should let go. And so that we are able to recognize also, okay, right now this guna is predominant. Should I encourage it or should I withdraw from it? Should I change it? Because most of the time we are not aware. After the guna has finished its play, then we realize, oh, this is what I did. Spiritual life is alert living, conscious living. So the understanding here will be from these 2 standpoints. One is to understand the nature of that guna, so that we are able to recognize in our daily life, okay, right now this mind is going through Sattva Guna, right now it is Tamasic, oh, now it is Rajasic. And we are able to, because we have freedom to choose, Purushartha we can do. So we should be able to identify and become alert. Then second part of this is to understand how this is binding. Because if I understand why it is and how it is binding me, then I will be able to get out of that. So now 6th verse talks about the Sattva Guna. In fact, these 3 verses, 6, 7 and 8, if you like, you can even memorize them, because they will tell the qualities of the guna and how the gunas can also be binding, so that we need to rise above all the 3 gunas to realize the truth. Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakamanāmayam sukha sangena badhnāti jnana sangena chanagha. Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat. Now, when Bhagavan said earlier, Nibadhanti Mahabaho, O mighty armed Arjun, these three gunas they bind. Then, how are they binding? So, first he says Sattva Guna, how it is binding. Tatra Sattvam. So, what are the qualities of Sattva now? You see, Nirmalatvat, Prakashakam, Anamayam, Sukha Sangena, Jnana Sangena. 5 qualities. Primary quality and secondary qualities. We should divide the gunas into these two parts. What is the primary nature of the guna and what is the secondary nature? Sattva guna, the primary nature of it, or in this context, even if you say quality, it is knowledge, Jnanam. And here the other qualities which are given, they are what? Nirmalam, pure. Purity is Sattva guna. Purity meaning the mind is calm. These impurities of selfishness, anger, greed, intoxication, pride, jealousy, these are not there. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, not there. Not there in the sense they are bare minimum. 100% not there, not possible in the state of the gunas. Beyond the gunas, yes. Atma is beyond this. But the mind goes through this. They are absolutely minimal. Nirmalatvat. Prakashakam. It is of the nature of illumination because jnana is the main quality. It's like sunlight, when the sunlight is there, everything is so clearly visible. In Rajas and Tamas, the light of knowledge is not so bright. So is foggy, dark. Items can't be seen clearly. Just an analogy. So in Sattva Guna, the mind has clarity of thinking. Mind and intellect, they have clarity of thinking. They have purity of feeling. There is intellectual knowledge, not only of the subjects about the world, but about oneself also. As a personality and as the reality. Knowledge is there. So, Tatra Sattvam Nirmalatvat Prakashakam Anamayam. It is free from any flaw. So, literally Anamayam means free from any flaw. Flawless. Why it is flawless? Flawless in the sense, again, as I said, totally flawless is Bhagavan or infinite consciousness, which is beyond the gunas. But it is called flawless because it does not have the impurity of Rajas and Tamas. It is pure Sattva. So when pure Sattva is there, it is flawless. It has knowledge, it has purity. Meaning maximum flawlessness it has, maximum level of purity it has. Anamayam also means at the body level, freedom from, so good health, free from disease. So body also of that person. Today we see so many diseases are psychosomatic, caused by the stress, tension, worry, depression, anxiety. So many of them. The person whose mind is sattvic is free from these. So the body also is healthy, immunity is strong. Otherwise, people keep falling sick for small things. A little weather change, I have a cold, I have a headache, I have stomachache, I have back pain, I have leg pain. Every day some new challenge at the body level. Many times it is, see, sometimes because of age, certain things, no doubt one goes through certain things, no problem with that. But many times it is because the mind is not inspired. It is so dull. It is going on thinking negative thoughts, depressing thoughts. And then the mind is affecting the body, victimizing oneself. feeling low, and then I need attention, sympathy. So every day the health bulletin, something new is coming. People also are fed up after some time. And especially it is sad when the young people go through this. That is the age when I can act and achieve and be dynamic, and that is the time if I'm going to be like this, lazy, lethargic, and depressed, and then the body is having some or the other issues, not doing any exercise, and then feeling very low. Then what will happen in the old age? So, anamayam, sattva guna, the mind must have sattva guna. So, what are the qualities now? Nirmalam, purity of mind. Sattva guna means purity. Purity has great power. People think Rajoguna has more power. Ambition, activity, achievement, name, fame, power, position. They have power, no doubt. They have a certain charm, no doubt. But purity is something else. Is far greater than all this. And purity of mind doesn't mean a person is a dumb person. बेचारा भला आदमी है, भोला है, उल्लू बना सकते हैं इसको, ये तो साधु है. अरे साधु who is सात्विक ना recognizes every single flaw or any attempt to manipulate, and that sattva guna is such, the mind will be such, they don't even have to think in a cunning way, manipulative way, anything. It will manifest in front of them only. Okay, this is what is happening. They can see clearly. And Bhagavan also makes them understand a few things. Intuitively also they will know. So this sattva guna has tremendous power. Purity, we should never undermine the power of purity. Between purity and concentration or single pointedness, if one has to choose purity. One of the things that the demons, they show through the tapasya, what they do, they please Bhagavan, then Bhagavan manifests, and then they ask the boons. What they show is concentration power is there, power of the mantra is there, and Bhagavan manifests also, but purity of the mind is not there. So they ask boons which hurt them, harm them, and they hurt and harm others also. Ultimately, they get destroyed. So purity of mind is most important. If you see, even in relationships, genuine love is what we want and we expect from others. That comes only when there is purity. Harmony in relationship comes only when there is proper purity of mind, because then there is love, compassion, forgiveness, transparency, honesty, integrity. All this will come when there is purity of mind. Otherwise, trust issues are there. People are telling lies. They are cheating. They are manipulating. They are using you. So there is no security in the mind. You don't feel loved. Why all this is happening? Because the impurity is there, which is selfishness, greed, attachment. Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat. And please remember, when the mind is sattvic, the mind will also attain prosperity. Bhagavan Vishnu is symbol of sattva guna. Creation is sustained by sattva guna. Rajoguna makes the creation possible. So Brahmaji using Rajoguna creates. Vishnu Bhagavan using sattva guna preserves. And Shivji using Tamoguna destroys the world. And where is Lakshmi ji residing? At the feet of Vishnu Bhagavan. So those people who think that if you are Rajasic, you will get money only then, you will attain wealth only then, wrong notion. They may attain some wealth, not that Rajasic people can't attain wealth. Rajoguna, because of activity, dynamism, will attract prosperity. But to sustain that prosperity, we need Sattva Guna. And that prosperity should be beneficial. For that, we need Sattva Guna. Otherwise, that prosperity can pull one down. So this Sattva Guna is a very powerful quality. Purity of the mind will bring prosperity also, and that will be prosperity which will not contradict peace. That will be prosperity which will bring more happiness to oneself, to others. It will help to evolve. It will not bind. So, nirmalatvat, tatra sattvam nirmalatvat, purity of mind. If people want to talk in terms of vibration today, you talk in that language of energy and vibration. The highest frequency and vibration is of sattva guna. Middle is the rajoguna. Lowest is tamoguna. So the highest frequency is that efficiency will be high in sattva guna, purity of the mind. Think about it, how many people are making billions and billions today by the power of their thought. They are able to identify clearly that this is what the future is, this is what the customer will need, this is what the world is going to require. They are able to anticipate, they are able to create a product or a service, and they are able to fulfill the need, and they are able to make the best of the circumstances, attain prosperity, because knowledge is also one part of sattva guna. Ego is so bare minimum that knowledge, purity, creativity, innovativeness, productivity, efficiency, inspiration, all these are because of sattva guna. Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat, prakashakam, there is illumination, the intellect is inspired. Intellect feels very charged. Why not dragging through the day? Chalo now, one more day I have to live. I don't know why am I even existing. What is the use of my survival? It's all useless. No depressive thoughts like that. There's an inspiring goal. One wants to attain, one wants to achieve, one wants to manifest the potential, one wants to serve. Prakashakam. There's illumination. As we go ahead, you will see that sattva guna illumination is manifesting through the senses also. I won't say that right now, but as we go along in the shlokas, it will come. So prakashakam, there's illumination, there is light of knowledge, there is reasoning, there is logic, there is, objectivity. I am not simply impulsively doing anything. Even if the impulse is there, the sattvic person is able to control, saying not now. Or don't do this, this is wrong, this will hurt you, no need to fall for it. So the buddhi is sharp. Prakashakam means that when we say no, tejasvina vadhitamastu, may my knowledge be brilliant, bright. Meaning that knowledge is coming to my aid whenever I need. It is not that after I land up doing the mistake, then why did I do this? And many times one knows also and still one is not able to control. If you remember 3rd chapter, in that Arjuna asked this question, that what is that which makes the mind, makes the individual compelled to do sin? Baladiva niyojitaha. What is that which as though is compelling this person? Papam charati purushaha. Why is the person doing sin? Knowingly, anichannapi, doesn't want, unwilling, still is being compelled by some force. There Bhagavan said, Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha. This kama, desire and anger born of rajoguna, they make that person compromise. Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha. And mahashano mahapapma vidyena miha vairinam. This is the great consumer. This is that one which will destroy your objectivity. And know this type of a desire to be your enemy. And then how this type of a desire will veil your knowledge. Jnanam avritya dehinam. I know what is right, but I can't follow. That is Rajoguna quality. Sattvaguna quality is Prakashakam. I know what is right and I am able to follow what is right. Even if there is some temptation in the mind, I can put it aside, saying no. Even if the mind says do something, you will get this quickly, shortcut le lo, fatafat you will benefit. But if you know that that is wrong, the mind and intellect, you are able to say, no, I will not follow this. Put it aside. How many opportunities were there for Pandavas to compromise with Dharma? But they had this Sattva Guna. So they did not compromise. Bhagwan had Sattva Guna as Ram Bhagwan, as avatar when he took. He did not show any miracles. He was as a human being living in this world, going through all the sorrows and emotions and turbulations and trials and tribulations in the as a human being, but didn't compromise. Why? Because lives finally by Sattva Guna. So Prakashakam, Buddhi is very sharp, is able to control the mind which is going in a wrong direction. Nirmalatvat, mind also is pure, Buddhi is also sharp. This is the quality of a seeker. That's why Bhagavan says in the 3rd chapter, Nitya Sattvastha Bhava, the 2nd chapter. He tells Arjun, Arjun, be in Sattva Guna at all times. Rajogun, Tamogun, even in other yonis we can attain. Not attain, we are there in the other yoni, in that Rajogun, Tamogun only maximum time. Consciously, Sattva Guna can be cultivated only in human life. So, Nirmalatvat, let the mind be pure. Pure mind will have love, compassion, forgiveness, generosity, all that. Selflessness, contentment, so many lovely qualities. And the intellect will be sharp. What I know, I will live like that. So the split is not there. The moment there is a split, what I know and how I behave, there is opposite. Gone. Then the tussle is there. And if I fall for the lower, my confidence will be low. Self-esteem will take a hit. Willpower over a period of time will get destroyed. That is the biggest drawback of compromising. When I know something is right and I don't do it, I have no self-respect for myself after that. My self-respect will take the biggest hit. People may not even know. And it is not something immoral, but it is the most hurting. Think about it. If I know that I should wake up in the morning and I should do whatever my sankalpa may be, I will meditate or I will write something or I will go for a jog or I will, do study anything. I have set it up for myself. I need to do this because this is important for me. But I don't do. 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 7 days, 10 days. Finished. Each day I compromise. Little by little, my self-esteem erodes. My willpower goes down. Whatever sankalpa we take, we must be able to fulfill. That is Sattva Guna quality. And that person's confidence will be very high. Because if I don't respect word which I have given to myself or the sankalpa that I have taken, self-confidence cannot be built like that. Then I can't even keep up the word I've given to others. Which is why one should be in a state of integration. Maximum energy one will conserve then. When thinking, feeling, speaking, acting, they are in alignment to a righteous purpose, that personality will be integrated. That confidence will be very high. Self-esteem will be very good. Willpower will be very strong. All these are qualities of Sattva Guna. Tatra Sattvam Nirmalatvat, Prakashakam, Anamayam, flawless. And body level also, good health one has. When we say, no, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramayaha. May everybody be happy. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Sarve Santu Niramayaha. May everybody be healthy, free from diseases. Some disease comes because of the physical issue. Okay, I ate something contaminated or I went through some, infection I caught. That's a different matter. But psychosomatic diseases, because my mind is not in a sattvic state, So many diseases are happening at the body level. See, this Sattva Guna has what power? Even if body is having a certain problem, if the mind is coming in a sattvic state, the body will heal very fast. Or it will not even pose much of a trouble to the person. In spite of that bodily challenge, one will go on with inspiration. Gurudev's heart was working 16%. But he is roaring like a lion. Doctor told him talk only 20 minutes a day. He is talking 5-7 hours a day. And it doesn't feel ki what is the use of my spirituality? I served so selflessly. Is this what I get finally? For having been selfless, my heart is not even functioning 16%. Bhagwan, where are you? Nothing. That victimizing attitude only is not there. Why? Because mind is living in inspiration. Anamayam. And even there the body is having trouble, but his mind is not having any limitation. You know, when he got heart attack, he was in the hospital. Doctor did the surgery. Now the bypass etc. is so common and has become much more easy and risk free and all that. Earlier it was not like that. And he went through 2 bypasses at different points in time. First bypass surgery, when it happened, he was in Mumbai in the Jaslok hospital, and he was told you cannot meet devotees first few days. But there is one devotee who want to definitely come and meet, and then something that the devotee was going through some challenge. So Gurudev wrote one message and sent to her. And look at the message that he gave to her. He said, let Mr. Alert be your doctor, Sister Quiet be your nurse, and Mr. Diet be your compounder. He wrote that on one slate, that time that chalk and slate was there. He wrote in that slate and he said, give this message to that devotee. Few days he recovered from that and he is back to he is recovering in the house of one devotee. But he is back to his letter writing and work and communication and phone call and everything. Whole Suvarna Tulabharam was done so that, the amount of all the devotees across the world came together to collect gold. So Gurudev will be weighed in gold and that much gold will be put in some whatever bank or somewhere, and through that interest some of the activities of the mission centers will run, so that Gurudev doesn't have to struggle and travel so many places and do programs and raise the funds and all that. With that objective it was done. And when the Tulabharam happened in Mumbai night, in the Leela Kempinski Hotel, Gurudev was supposed to go to Sidbari and then rest there and reduce his, workload. So he went to Sidbari. Few days he stayed there also. Again he started his work. Not that he is restless or anything, but that is the power of inspiration. That's the power of compassion. He recorded the whole PRC, Gita in the PRC, in that ashram in PRC, just because he wants to leave that whole set for people, for posterity. And that is the set we have today, we are using. Earlier his recording of Sidbari Gita is there, but at that time, the recording equipment was not so good. And there's one fan just above him in that Sidbari in the hall, and that keeps on giving noise. So there's a lot of background sound in that. That also Gurudev said in his talk itself, he said, think of it as the rumbling sound of the Ganga. You are sitting on the banks of Ganga, Mother Ganga is flowing, And you think of that sound like that, it is the flow of Mother Ganga, how she passes through the stones, the rumbling sound comes. Think of it like that and focus on the talk. At that time, he used to sit cross-legged in Sidbari in the hall, Satsang hall. And whole Gita he recorded there, Marathon Gita camp. But then that recording has a lot of flaws. So again he recorded. That is Sattva Guna, that is compassion, that is Nirmalam, Prakashakam, Anamayam. 3 lectures in a day he was giving. When doctor said you can do only 20 minutes of talk in the whole day, he is giving 1 hour talks 3 times, plus interacting with devotees at other times. Nothing will bind, no limitation. Of course, we say, okay, Swamiji was a Jivan Mukta and all that, but operating out of Sattva Guna in the world, see the example they have set. So, Sattvam, Tatra Sattvam Nirmalatvat, Prakashakam, Anamayam, Sukha. Sattva Guna qualities, you are happy, cheerful, satisfied in life. And doesn't mean that there is no ambition. Sattva Guna also has, but that ambition is not out of insecurity, it is out of inspiration. There is no need to prove oneself to anybody. Out of joy, one is acting, out of inspiration of a certain goal, out of one's own Swadharma, anchoring in Swadharma, one wants to achieve, one wants to serve. No personal, and even if there's some personal ambition, it doesn't matter so much, as long as insistence is not there. So the mind is cheerful, very happy. If I am a spiritual person and I am not happy in life, something is wrong. Because if I am having spiritual sadhana I am doing, if I am having that clarity, even if I don't have Vedantic clarity that Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, this whole world is illusion, Brahman alone is real, my nature is Sachidanand, that is highest level. Forget that. At value level, one can be living. The Sattva Guna is like that. If I have love for others, compassion, kindness, straightforwardness, I anchor in my Swadharma and I do my duties, there is so much to be happy about. Gratitude if I have, I count my blessings, I will be happy. If I am continuously cribbing, complaining, miserable, victimizing, struggling to be happy, what spirituality I am following? Some attachment only I have. I am going on cribbing. So spiritual life is a happy life. And how strange it is. People think that if you come to spirituality, you will become miserable. Because they will tell you live in self-control. They will tell you live in detachment. So you can't love anybody. You can't eat anything which you like. You can't enjoy. It is not like that. Self-control brings a lot of happiness. Detachment brings a lot of happiness. In Bhaj Govindam, Shankaracharya says, Kasya sukham na karoti viragaha. What happiness is not available for that person who has vairagya? Nothing is there on which one's happiness depends. What a beautiful state that is. If something is there, one enjoys. If coffee is there, one says, wow. Coffee is not there, wow. Doesn't matter. If promotion you give, very good. If you don't give promotion, no problem. See, in the world, if there is some kind of unrighteousness being done and one has to, fight for it, that's a different point. But personally, one is not bothered. Why? Because one is anchored within. That is Sattva. Because of Nirmalatvat, Prakashakam, Anamayam, Sukha, one is happy. By surrender of the ego, in spiritual sadhana, in seva of people, being grateful for every single day, how many experiences we are getting. Bhagwan is doing so much for us. People are doing so much for us. Even if there is some challenge, there is some problem, yes, we will go through it, come out of it. But let there be happiness in life, because life is so short. Why waste it in simply cribbing, complaining, and then feeling sad and victimized and fighting? What is one getting out of it? Nothing. So, Sukha Sangena. And all this is, the foundation is Jnana Sangena. There is Jnanam, knowledge, holistic knowledge. Knowledge which helps me to anchor within and attain what I want to attain outside. Knowledge of the field which I am in, profession in which I am. Knowledge about various aspects about the Jiva, Jagat, Jagadishvara. Knowledge about dharma, knowledge about how to do action, what is karma, how to act in this world. Knowledge about how to be harmonious in the relationships. Emotional strength, intellectual clarity. Knowledge one needs to gain. There is no intellectual sloth, slumber, lethargy in this person. There is inquisitiveness to know. One wants to explore, understand, know, think deeper, reflect, understand why certain person is behaving in a certain way, rather than just simply judging, branding, and then taking decisions based on that. Jnanam, one tries to understand what is the cause, why, and then try to see how to behave according to that and how to help out that person if they need help. That is all knowledge. And one is a learner, what nowadays they say, be a student throughout your life. Sattva guna, one quality is jignasa. Jignasa means desire to know. Jnatum ichha jignasa. I want to know. So inquisitiveness is there. That attitude, I know it all. What is the use of knowing more? There's no need. No, one wants to learn. Acha, today I got to learn something new. Oh, very nice. I didn't know this before. This is quality of sattva guna. And every day there's so much to learn actually. And one can be in a state of wonder and learn more. That is such a nice state to be in. In nature, if we see, there's so much to wonder about. One wonders how this whole Srishti, how it is going on. You just see. So much is there to discover. Whatever we know is not even the tip of an iceberg. So much more is there to know and learn. In one field itself, there is endless knowledge. Then there are so many fields. And every day one is going through diverse experiences. So there's so much to learn about oneself, about others, about the subjects, about the world, about Bhagavan. One is in curiosity state, in the inquisitive state. I want to know, I want to learn. These are 5 qualities of Sattva Guna. In that main one is knowledge. And this Sattva Guna only will make that person seek that knowledge of essential oneness. Seek that which is the means of liberation, the knowledge of the self. Because the Sattva Guna will go deep into identifying what is the root cause. I want to know what is the root cause and then remove that root cause. Rajoguna doesn't have the capability to go into the root cause. It wants only symptomatic treatment. And Tamoguna doesn't want only treatment. He is very happy in that suffering also. Happy in the sense is indifferent. So Sattva Guna will identify, oh, this is the root cause of my sorrow, and now how to get out of this ignorance of the truth, of the self. Then I need knowledge of the self. Then I have to go to the teacher for that. Then I need to study this. Then I have to purify the mind. So one will understand and then one will seek, and that's why Sattva Guna will get a person out of bondage. Rajas and Tamas will pull the person into bondage. So Jnana is the main quality of Sattva Guna. Then Nirmalatvat, Prakashakam, Anamayam, Sukha. Now this is one aspect of the Guna, is what we understood, so that we can operate out of this Guna. And we understand its importance, then we will cultivate. How to cultivate Sattva Guna? There are 10 factors. Yeah. In this Hamsa Gita, there's a beautiful verse where it is said, if these 10 factors you change into Sattvic, then you will increase Sattva Guna in life. I have shared this long back in some earlier chapters also, second chapter and all that when we did, I've shared, but I will share once again. So, what is that shloka? आगमोपप्रजादेशः कालकर्म च जन्म च ध्यानं मंत्रोऽथ संस्कारः दशैते गुणहेतवः. These 10 gunahetavah, they will increase. The guna word here means sattva guna. They will increase the sattva guna. What are these 10 factors? Agama. Agama literally means the scripture. But in this context, agama also means what am I reading? What input am I taking? In terms of literature that I read, I hear, I browse, I see, all that. Is it sattvic, rajasic, tamasic? I'm going to cover right now just these factors quickly. I will put up one chart on the WhatsApp group which will give you the details. So what I am reading, very important, agama. Apa means water. Apa here includes food and water. So what I am eating, is it sattvic, rajasic, tamasic? Eating, drinking, is it sattvic, rajasic, tamasic? Agama, apa, praja. What is the company that I keep? Few moments of rajasic company that Kaikeyi got, full Ramayana happened. And few moments of Naradji's company Ratnakar got, became Valmiki. Think about that. Agama, apa, praja. The company I keep makes a big difference. And don't tell me, where do I find sattvic people, Swamiji? They are not there in this world only. That attitude only is tamasic, first of all. How can we write off that there is no sattvic people in the world? Oh no, Swamiji, we are living in Kali Yuga, majority are rajasic people only. No, there are a lot of inspiring people around. You open your eyes and see. Go to such places, in such organizations, go and find. You will find sattvic people. Company, we have to identify. If you by default my company like this only, then you put effort not to find. Go. There are enough places where you will find sattvic people even today. So agama, apa, praja, desha, which are the places that I visit. Do I spend more time in nature? Do I spend more time in the environment where I am, in my workplace, at my home? Is it a sattvic place, environment? Do I learn something new? Do I go to places where my knowledge increases? Do I go to places where more of insecurity, ambition, greed, all that is fueled? Or places where lazy, lethargic, dull, tamasic? So the literature that I consume, the food and water that I drink, the company that I keep, the places that I visit, how much time do I go to temple, satsang, all that. Sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. And it doesn't mean in this that we should never do anything rajasic, tamasic. If I maximize sattvic in these 10 aspects, then sattva will increase. This doesn't say that don't engage in anything rajasic at all. You want to eat rajasic food, eat. But let it be 10%, 15%. Majority keep it sattvic. Like that. In certain things, yes, tamasic, rajasic, as much as one can avoid, that much better. But otherwise, maximize sattva guna. That is the point. We are not trying to become very idealistic. Agama, apa, praja, desha, kala. How do I use time? In the Srishti, there are 8 prahars, in which 3 hours of division is there. So, morning, 12 to 3, then 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12, 4 prahars. Again, afternoon 12 to 3, evening 3 to 6, 6 to 9, and then night 9 to 12. 8 prahars are there. In that, the first 2 prahars, meaning 3 to 6, 6 to 9, more of sattva guna. Then 9 to 6, lot of rajoguna. Then again 6 to 3, lot of tamoguna. Now, if I do activities aligned to the time, it will help, because nature is going like this. And right now I'm talking about the tropical climate and this regular environment where we are. Don't say that it doesn't apply in the poles. There the time duration is different. We are talking about now here. So when sattva guna is predominating in nature, if I do activities which involves more sattva guna, then sattva will strengthen. So thinking, creativity, spiritual sadhana, all that will increase. When I do that in the morning, it will aid. Then dynamism, work, hard work, activity, do in the time when there is rajoguna. Because the body cycle also goes by the sun. Metabolism also goes by the sun. Today people are understanding all that circadian rhythm and the melatonin and then the whatever is that, pineal gland which releases melatonin. Now they have all scientific backing for it, which is very good. But these masters have told that before only. You live like this, go by the cycle of the sun. And in the night when the sun is down, different hormones are released which are required for the body to rest, rejuvenate, recoup. At that time I should not be doing rajasic work. When the time is there to do sattvic work, that time I am doing tamasic work. I am sleeping. When the time is to be rajasic, I am not being rajasic. When the time is to be sattvic, then I am being tamasic. When the time is to be tamasic, I am being rajasic. Then challenges will happen in the body and the mind both. So kala. Then karma. What is my attitude to work? Am I dedicating it for a higher purpose? Then it is sattvic. Am I doing it only for I, me and mine? Rajasic. If I am not even doing my duty, tamasic. आगमा अप प्रजा देश काल कर्म जन्म. अब जन्म का क्या करें स्वामी जी, पैदा तो हो गए, पता नहीं व्हेन आई वाज बोर्न इट वाज सात्विक टाइम, राजसिक टाइम, तामसिक टाइम. नो कंट्रोल ऑन जन्म नाउ. Janma there means what type of initiation you are getting and you are getting into. Is somebody initiating you into rajasic things or tamasic things or sattvic things? If your friend takes you to a satsang, then he is initiating you into something sattvic. And depends on the quality of satsang there, then only it is sattvic satsang then. If the friend is taking you to something which is rajasic, then that is rajasic initiation. Or something dull, drink and fall somewhere, tamasic. So where are you getting initiated into, or what you are initiating yourself into by yourself also? That is called janma. Dhyanam means focus. Focus meaning what is my main objective? Is it sattvic, rajasic, tamasic? And dhyanam also means what is my self-talk? Do I talk positively about myself? Do I talk very, very, rajasic way where I am insecure, or I don't even have good self-esteem? I think I am worthless, useless fellow completely. So dhyana means the focus in life. Is it a sattvic goal that I have? Is it a rajasic? Is it a tamasic? And what is my self-talk? Mantra. Literally mantra can also mean a mantra. So do you do japa of a sattvic mantra, rajasic mantra, tamasic mantra? But mantra also meaning what is it that I am having, my motto, my mission statement in life, which I tell myself, this is what I am living by, this is my purpose, this is the thing that I want to achieve. What is it that is a mission statement in the mind? Mantra. And samskara. Last is samskara. Again, samskara has formal meaning, which is samskara where shodash samskar we go through in life. That has a lot of impact on the mind, on the body, as well as on the environment, as well as on the karmically between the people. Today we are removing all that and we are trying to so-called simplify life and make it more minimalistic and all that. But that applies, we apply that only to spirituality and to our rituals. Everywhere else it is maximum only. Increase the methods of enjoyment, new ways of enjoyment. There minimalism is not coming. So samskar, vivaha, samskar has its own power, impact. If we do it in the Vedic way with the rites, rituals, everything, right from Garbhadhan onwards, up to Antyeshti, everything, each stage of life has so much of power. It will remind me of my divinity. It will invoke the blessings of the devatas. It will bring different people together and help to settle karmic debts. So much is there in the samskar, but we don't know. And that samskar also is sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, done with those type of attitudes. So one meaning is samskar, literally means that. Other meaning of samskar is an impression. What kind of impressions are my actions leaving on me? Is my karma leaving sattvic impression on me, rajasic impression, or tamasic impression? So this is how 10 things, if I make this into sattvic, my life will become sattvic. And again, I am saying, it is not to undermine rajoguna or tamoguna, and they are not bad at all, completely that we have to shun them. No. Each of the gunas have their importance in our life. I need rajoguna to be active. I need tamoguna to sleep. But there is a binding effect of the gunas, and there is one the regular nature of that guna, which we have to understand. And in that, the regular nature, the sattva guna is the best one. Like I need activity, I need sleep, and I need knowledge. No doubt. All the three I need. And in the right combination also I need. But in that, the sattva guna, if I increase, then the quality of the activity and sleep also will increase. That's the point. And the binding aspect of all three gunas also I should know, so that I can come out of it. And in general, the proportion of sattva must increase in our life. So for today, this much is where I will stop. And rajoguna, tamoguna, and how the sattva guna binds, that we will take up in our next satsang. If you have any questions today, you note down and keep. I will answer in the next class, because there's another class at 9 o'clock I have to do today. So I won't be able to take questions today. We will do the arati, and we will conclude for today. So we thank all our Yajmans, the Mukhya Yajmans, for the whole series of 14 chapters, Bharatji, Paragwag, Kalpana Morparya ji, Tarana Khubchandani ji, the Gita Arti Yajmans for all sessions, Rajan Saxena ji, Ajay Merchant ji, Hemant Kumar ji, Rashmi Anand ji, Nalini Shivakramani ji, Jayashri ji, Ajay Kasotia ji, Vinita Sanghi ji, Vipul Dalal ji, Jyotsna ji, Jolly ji, Vijaya ji, Ami Ambani, Anita ji, and Dipti ji. Today's Dainik Yajman are Mala Malkani ji, Vishal Dhawan ji, Shalini Dhawan ji, and Deepak Desai ji. And our Aarti Yajman for today, Geeta Balsara ji, Sonali Kapoor ji, Harsha Dalal ji. We invoke Bhagwan's grace, Guru Dev's blessings on all of the Yajmans, their families, and everyone present here. May Bhagwan bless us with more and more of Sattva Guna. May we come to realize our true nature through that, and may we free ourselves from the bondage of Prakriti, live a happy, contented, cheerful, knowledge-oriented life. Om Tat Sat. Jai Shri Krishna. Just 1 minute.